Yard Dawgs Podcast Studio. A show for the fans, by the fans. Talking all things Cleveland Browns, from our mic to your ears. With your hosts, Jason Hand and Mikey P.
Yes, and welcome to the Yard Dawgs Podcast, the show for the fans, by the fans. This is Season 3, Episode 90. I'm your host, Jason Hand. You can find me on Twitter, @BrownsHuddle. The Yard Dawgs Podcast is now part of Network 216. You can find Network 216 on Twitter, @Network_216. Tonight and every Tuesday night, we are streaming live exclusively on Twitch. If you couldn't catch the live show, we've got you covered. You can also find the Yard Dawgs Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. While you're there, give us a follow, and don't forget to subscribe and also give us a 5-star review. If you're a Cleveland Browns fan, media member, player, or former player, and would like to be a guest on the Yard Dawgs Podcast, hit us up on Twitter. Our DMs are wide open. You can reach us there @YardDawgsPod. And this is important. Please share this show because sharing the show helps more than you'll ever know. And joining me tonight, I have a guest here. But before we do that, this is actually good. Our guest tonight is Coldiron. You can find him on Twitter @Browns593. Before we bring him on, though, I do have some housekeeping stuff to get to. Don't forget to watch the show and also be a part of the show. You know, in the comments, we're actually going to post a link to the show. If you'd like to be on the Yard Dawgs Podcast and talk about your question or comment, you can hit the link and we'll bring you right on the show. Also, Network 216 is part of Twitch. All of our shows are on Twitch. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so by subscribing to Network 216 Twitch page. It's $5.99 per month. That's about 20 cents per day. It can be free also by linking it to your Amazon Prime account. We're working very hard to bring you Cleveland sports content, and we have more shows joining the network. In fact, if the network that we have right now, the lineup, we have the Barking Brown Show. We have some great Browns shows in the network. We have the Barking Brown Show, which actually starts right after this. We have the Faithful Dogs Podcast. We have a Guardians Podcast, At the Corner Podcast with Zach and Chuck. And then the Petty Eddie Podcast with Eddie Mack. Also, just joined the network a couple weeks ago. That's Down with the Browns, and that's with Kentucky Fried Christian, Manny Maxwell, and Mac the Buffalo, and also Ed in Columbus. And then usually at night we'll have a betting show hosted by Grant P and Matty G. That's called the Grant P and Matty G Betting Show. So a lot of great shows on Network 216. Check them all out. They're awesome. We are your one-stop shop for Ohio sports content. And you might be asking, well, what are the benefits of subscribing to Network 216 on Twitch? Well, you can watch the shows ad-free. Access channel rewards, including drawings for subscriber Ohio sports prize packs. We recently gave away 4 tickets to Browns training camp, which is actually going on right now. We're going to talk about that during the show. But most importantly, we just appreciate all the support that you guys give us on Network 216 and certainly this podcast, the Yard Dawgs Podcast. We are also a proud partner. Sorry, I got a little tongue-tied there. We're a proud partner with Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy football. If you're like most people and love to play daily fantasy and also love to win cash, Underdog Fantasy is definitely for you. Best Ball Mania costs $25 to enter and lasts all season long. Underdog is going to match, get this, they're going to match your initial deposit up to $100 by using promo code 216. So if you deposit $50, that becomes $100 to play in Underdog Fantasy. Remember, use promo code 216 and draft your Best Ball Mania 3 team today. All right, Now we're going to get to our guest for tonight. His name is Ian Coldiron. You can find him on Twitter at BrownsFan593. He's a huge Cleveland Browns fan, and even proposed to his now wife on the field at First Energy Stadium for a Sunday night football game, which I was at. We'll get into that in just a minute. And to hear all that and more, let's bring him in now. Ian, welcome to the yard.
What's up? I'm happy to be on the yard. How you doing tonight?
I am too, buddy. I got to say, I was a little nervous, just being on the pod by myself for the first 5 minutes, because usually my sidekick, Mikey P, is sitting right next to me, and I felt kind of lonely, so I'm feeling a lot better now that I have you to join me on the show.
Yeah, I'll try to fill. They're big shoes to fill, but I'll do my best. He's a size 13. I'll try to be the size 10 for you. I'll try to fill in for you, man.
That's okay. Yeah. So, Mikey P is on his way back from Cleveland. He went to training camp, and he had some Browns backers. He had a Browns backers summit there. He had a wonderful experience. He was going to join us from his phone, but he just had a bad connection. So he figured it was probably best to just not be on the show because of connection issues.
Nothing worse than connection issues. I understand. Is he live in Columbus then? Is Mikey from Columbus area?
No, we're actually both in Virginia. He lives in a neighboring town.
Okay.
Yeah, we both live in neighboring towns right here, and he's in Virginia Beach. I'm in Chesapeake, so
okay.
we're
I'm familiar.
Virginians.
My brother lived there for a few years, so I'm familiar with the Virginia Beach area actually very well. So yeah, I'm from Columbus myself, though. That's where me and my wife live. So
okay, awesome. Well, when you first reached out to me, Ian, I saw your pinned tweet, which is you were proposing to your then fiance at First Energy Stadium during a Sunday night football game, and I noticed, I'm like, hey, I was at that game. That was the Ring of Honor game for Clay Matthews. So obviously she said yes. I see your wedding band, so you guys are now married. But man, how did you pull that off, dude? Number one, just getting on the field, but did she know about the proposal? How did all that work?
Honestly, man, it was all my idea. I met my wife Sarah, who, a lot of women, a lot of wives you'll have, they'll say they watch football, but she actually enjoys it. You can tell she watches football. She watches every snap. She knows players' names. She knows her stuff. And in today's world, anyways, both men and women are, they're both just doing well at knowing everything there is to know about football. But I just knew there was a match with her, something with the Browns linked with me and her. So I don't know why. I picked up my phone one day. I called my season ticket guy, and I said, his name's Miguel. I said, Miguel, is there anything you can do for me, man? I really want to propose to my wife on the field. And I said, is there anything you can do, even if you can get me in on, I wasn't expecting a prime time game or anything like that. I just figured they'd let me in on a Saturday afternoon or something to open the gate and let me do my thing. But he let me choose the game. So obviously I think that year, I think we had about 2 or 3 primetime games at home, maybe 2, maybe I'm reaching that. Maybe I'm reaching a little bit, but 2. But she, it was one of those things she had no idea at all. I mean, I think she knew eventually I was going to pop the question, but I don't think she really knew when and where. He told me over the phone the only issue he worried for me was at the gate. Obviously, the ring's going to go off, and if anyone's going to First Energy Stadium, they're very security-oriented. No one's going to get through the door without, especially if something goes off. So luckily the Irish, when we went through the gate, somehow she was distracted. This is like the one moment I almost got caught. She got distracted a little bit by whatever was going on in the front of the First Energy Stadium. I don't know how, but her back was turned. And then I have the ring in my hat. So obviously I literally had my hat like this. I had my ring in there. And I'm going through the thing, and obviously it goes off. And obviously a guy, comes up to me right away. And I said, I literally just went right up to him, almost like I'm going to, push him or something. I said, dude, it's an engagement ring. It's an engagement ring, man. Please don't say anything. Please don't say anything. And he was just like, come on through, sir. He wanted to know. You saw the ring, so it's not like I was hiding anything, but I was just like, dude, please just let me through. And he was real cool about it. Enjoy your evening. Then obviously at that point it's pregame. They let you on for like season ticket members or VIPs. I don't know who all gets those passes, but somehow like I said, I got them from my buddy Miguel, and they give you like 20 minutes before the game. So obviously, dude, my heart's racing. I got the ring in my pocket. How many fans you're talking are there? In the stadium. I mean, obviously pregame, especially primetime game, it was probably at least half full. But I'm thinking, where is the best place to do it? Obviously they give you that big space of side field to work with. So I'm thinking, where am I going to do it at? When am I going to do it? But long story short, man, I got enough courage to hop on a knee. The good thing about Browns fans, the amazing thing about Browns fans, I can't tell you enough how many people had videos, pictures. It was such a moment to share with Browns fans. I think you can even hear the guys in the background like, no way, because they weren't expecting, something like that. I think it threw a lot of people off, but it was a really great moment, one that we'll never forget. Obviously, now that we're married into this Browns fandom, I mean, obviously I was a fan before her, but she really wasn't until she met me. Now it keeps us together. Me and her both have season tickets, so every year we go together. Obviously, we drive from Columbus to Cleveland. My buddies can't even get the ticket because she refuses to not go. So it's always me and my wife. Obviously, my buddies would love to go to a game sometime. I'd love to take them, but my wife loves going. She really enjoys it. So we're definitely all in on the Browns, and obviously that moment really made it more like heartfelt and more, just gave us some more love for the Browns, and I know that she did too, thanks to Miguel and the Browns season ticket crew or season ticket office for making that all possible.
And did the thought ever occur to you that, like, man, what if she says no?
Not really, no. just because I you have a feeling about your wife, and no, I've seen videos of that stuff before where like somebody will propose and it's like a no, and it kind of throws people off, but I had full confidence. Going in, man. I felt like a 5-star recruit going in with that ring. I felt pretty confident that she was.
Felt pretty confident,
yeah.
You're right, man. Before you propose to your wife, right? Before you propose, you have like a 99.9% feeling that it's going to go the right way. So pretty much. But man, you did it in front of like 80,000 people. So kudos to you, man.
Yeah, I think that's what was so nerve-wracking about it was it wasn't just a proposal that I was going to share with her. It was something that like I said, people that were just there were just so shocked that I pulled it out. But I don't know, man. I think I've always wanted to. I think any Browns fan or NFL. I think any NFL fan. Let's just put it that way. Has dreams and aspirations to ask their wife on a football field or whatever, whether it be their team, fandom or whatever. So I guess that was a bucket list proposal for me, and it was always in my mind. And like I said, I was just so fortunate that the Browns allowed me to do that. And it's something I'll never forget. I'll always be thankful to them. And if I was going to be bandwagon at any point in my life, I don't think I ever will be now. Just have that heartfelt, that one thing, like, okay, the Browns, like, I married my wife at the Browns stadium. You'll never forget something like that,
No. Didn't, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't Wyatt Teller propose to his fiance?
Yes, he did. Yeah, right on the field. They did it, I think, like after, they did it like on a Saturday afternoon. Obviously, he's got a lot more ties than I do, so I just had basically the field pass for the 20 minutes I had, so. Yeah. I think I was a little bit more on the timer than Wyatt was, but I'm happy for them too. I think Carly Teller is great. I think both of them are great. So it was cool that me and him think alike.
Absolutely, man. Congratulations. So that was in 2019, Sunday Night Football against the Rams. And when did y'all finally get married?
We got married a year later. It was officially a year. We did everything pretty much by the book. We got married within a year of that, and then obviously we had to battle COVID. At that time, DeWine, the only really negative of the wedding, it wasn't really a negative. DeWine, that was when the curfew was still going on, so we had to end the wedding an hour early. So it was just 11 o'clock instead of midnight, but and we had it here in Columbus, here at COSI. I don't know if you ever heard of COSI in Columbus, but we had it there. But yeah, pretty much just a year we were engaged. And then, like I said, we still, everyone kept telling us, push the wedding back. And it was just one of those things, man. At that point, we had so much money in ties with vendors and all that stuff. It just would have just been such a pain in the butt to cancel. So we kept it going and got married within a year after that. So.
Yeah, and I noticed you said, during your story that you're a season ticket holder. Both you and your wife are. Mm-hmm. I got to know, man, what is it like being a season ticket holder? I personally have not been a season ticket holder of anything. So I'm curious to know, man, what that's like.
Well, it's great. A great question, man, because that's where I think a lot of people on Twitter, me and that, like, Browns fans clash sometimes, just because, like, we all invest in this team. We all invest jerseys, helmets, all that stuff. We're all investors. But when you're putting, and I'll give you my estimated quote. I haven't looked at my my actual bill in a couple of weeks, but it's about $3,500 to $4,000 a year we pay. So you figure, it's a little bit more than a couple of jerseys. So for me, I'm more of like, I get a little bit angry. Maybe if we lose on a Sunday, I'm a little bit more angry, or I'm a little bit more upset. And not that money has anything to do with it. It's an investment. But like, I always tell my wife, and she laughs at me, she could care less if we win or lose. But for me, it's just always like, but this is an investment, babe. It's not just the fan, and we're putting money into these guys. And the benefit definitely is having a guaranteed seat every game. I mean, nothing beats it. There's a good family atmosphere in my section now. Like, I pretty much know everybody. It's almost like a family. It kind of reminds me of that, what was it, Fever Pitch?
Fever Pitch, yeah.
Reminds me very similar. I mean, when we, like, if we're not there on a Sunday, people are worried, like, did something happen to Sarah and Ian? So people pretty much know us in our section. We take care of each other. But honestly, man, I think the main thing of just being a season ticket member is, like I said, I get more anxiety. I get more, like, pressure to, because, and for us now, we drive. I'm born and raised in Cleveland my whole life. Sarah, my wife, she's from Columbus, so I moved here a couple years ago, and that's where it is too. Being a season ticket holder, not only are you committing that money, now you're driving, 2.5 hours. If you lost, then you got to eat that loss for that 2.5 hours on that ride home, and you're thinking about what it could have, should have. And it's like, I don't know. I promise you, it's a great thing to be a season ticket holder, but it is. Like I said, I'm a little bit more on edge, I guess, for games and whatnot, just because I feel like, at least in my opinion, it's a strong investment of mine. And put it this way, I bought them the 0-16 year, so here I am. So, and everyone told me sell them, after that year, and I'm pretty much set on keeping these forever. We just had our daughter. I had a 4-month-old at home. We're going to add a third seat. It's just something that me and her do. And actually, what's funny, me and her, what we'll do now, if you have kids, you understand, we're going to use the Sundays as date day. Like, we'll drop the kid off at mom's, go to the Browns game, enjoy ourselves, have a few, maybe a few Trulies, whatever, a couple of nice beverages, and tailgate and have fun. And that way me and her can get away from the baby and enjoy the Browns on Sundays. So.
Right on. Do you guys have routines when you're at the game? Like, do you go to the same tailgate every time, or do you put on your own tailgate? I don't know. Like, how does that work?
We'll meet up with whoever. We're more of the we'll go to, like, Town Hall. We'll go to sometimes we'll hit up the West 6 area. We don't really have any. I'm still kind of looking for my kin, if you will. We're still looking for, like, people. Like, we'll have a couple of friends that'll tailgate, but as far as, like, tailgate officially, nothing official yet. We bounced around from the Muni lot to, I'm about to call it the dump, the pit. I was about to call it the dump, I don't know why. The pit over there on the other side, because actually where our seats are, we'd probably be best off doing actually the pit, because the Muni lot would be out of our way, because that part of the entrance is where our seats are. So it'd be more likely to tailgate at the pit.
Well, right on. Well, thanks for coming on the show. Huge Browns fan. We're having a great talk already, great discussion. Congratulations once again on your marriage, and you just had a daughter. That's fantastic. You're building your family, you're building your life in Ohio, and yeah, you're doing it right, man. You're raising your family as Browns fans, and hopefully there's brighter days ahead, right? Because it's been kind of doom and gloom, man, for the past couple weeks, and we're going to get into a little bit of that now. Let's go ahead and get into some Browns headlines. So there was some heartbreaking news that came out of training camp today. Jakeem Grant, if you've heard this show, you know that Mikey P and I have been huge fans of Jakeem Grant when the Browns got him during the offseason. He was a Pro Bowler last year for the Chicago Bears. We've been missing a return specialist, right? And Jakeem Grant would have been awesome for us this year, and unfortunately it sounds like, I don't think it's been confirmed yet, but sounds like it's a season-ending injury, so we're going to be without the services of Jakeem Grant this year. What are your thoughts about that, man? I mean, obviously you never want to see a player get injured, but that was just not good news that we heard today.
Well, I told you I'm going to try to stay positive. The only thing I will say, we talked a little bit about this earlier. The only thing I will say as a fan is, and I'm talking to Andrew Berry here, please don't let it ride. If he's hurt, I understand. And anytime, I'm sure you saw the video with the towel on his face and he's shaking his head. That's never good. That's usually a sign of because no one knows how bad it is except that person. So once I saw that, I really was feeling kind of doom and gloom. But all I will say is, I'm okay. We're okay. No need to burn the bridge. But please, Andrew Berry, get on the line. Look at some free agent kick returner, punt returner, because we talked about a little bit about it earlier. I just don't know if we have. Obviously, I don't know if you can find a Pro Bowl returner like Jakeem Grant. I'm with you guys. He's a spectacular player. I don't think you'll match what you had, but at least try to find something better than Peoples-Jones and Felton or D'Ernest Johnson back there, where it just looks like they're not really all in on returning, and that's not necessarily their specialty, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, me and you were talking about it pre-show, what the Browns could possibly do there. Last year, it was DPJ and D'Ernest Johnson were kind of were return specialists for punt and kickoffs. This year, Demetric Felton, to me, even though we know in Cleveland as fans, we know that there's some talent there that has to develop. But I think that this Jakeem Grant news, the injury, that might have solidified his spot on this 53-man roster, because Demetric Felton, he can be a receiver, right? I know he's a running back, but he could also return kicks. I mean, he's not a Jakeem Grant. Don't get me wrong, but the Browns have that avenue. They can go with Demetric Felton. They also have DPJ, which I'm not a fan of, returning kicks. I especially with our wide receiver room, I have big hopes for DPJ this year. And I don't want to see some freak injury returning a kickoff when we could get somebody else to do that. But maybe they'll pick up somebody. You'd mentioned that. It's a possibility, right? They could pick up a free agent that's not currently on anybody's roster. Maybe they'll wait on cuts, to pick somebody up. But it's a position that I don't know if they're going to address it, right? They might just roll it out with Felton and DPJ and D'Ernest Johnson. But it's a position that I think, from the comments I've seen, that people are hoping that they do address it.
Yeah, and you're talking. Correct me if you will. What was his was it $2 million? What was about? Wasn't about 1 to 3? What was Jakeem's contract? If
I don't have his. I mean, I can look it up.
I think it was 1 to 3, but and that's kind of where I'm at with it. Is you're talking about a $1 to $2 million contract. I mean, I believe we had $41 million the last time I checked in cap space. I mean, easier said than done. We're not the GMs. I'm not trying to be what they call the armchair GM here, but to me, a couple of pennies of the bigger picture to kind of solidify that position would be great. And then as far as Felton's concerned, we talked about that full running back room. I figured they were going to move Felton, the receiver, anyways, to kind of so he could make the roster. To me, Felton was the odd man out of everybody they got, because why would they cut the rookie from Cincy? Why would they cut Dearness or Hunt or Chubb, obviously, that's your 4. Felton, to me, seemed like, I didn't see much at the training camp I went to, but I don't know. Maybe he's done more slot receiving. Like, I mean, that, to your point, that might be the answer. But me, myself, I just wish they'd kind of get somebody else, myself, just because what if Felton goes down? You know what I mean? Injuries happen just so much, and that's just kind of where I'm at with it. It's a weary position. But.
Yeah. And it looks like he signed a 3-year deal worth $10 million. His base salary is just over $1 million with a $2 million signing bonus. So
yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, they usually get, because I remember, only reason I remember JoJo Notson, obviously 2 years ago.
Yeah,
and that's the unfortunate of being a Browns fan. This is deja vu. Literally, I think the same time last year we were here, and it was Notson that's out, and now here's Jakeem Grant, and I think he's obviously a better player than Notson was. So I don't know, man. It seems like Barry and the special teams coach really want to get that return specialist, and they obviously had intentions of doing it this year. So it literally is open-ended what Barry could do at this point. Like you said, maybe they'll pick somebody up, or like you said, maybe they think they do have someone in-house that can do the job.
Yeah.
So.
And we have some comments rolling in. Some are directed right at you, Coltrane.
Oh,
so we have the OG Juju. Check this out, bro. Check this out. He is sitting in a hot tub right now, watching you guys. Go Browns. Coltrane is the man, he says. Do you know him?
Yeah, that's my boy, man. That's my good friend, man. He's went to many a Browns game with me. Many a Brown. He's a Browns fan. You know how you meet some Browns fans and you have like a connection where like maybe they like the same players, maybe they hate the same stuff Barry's doing, and that's that connection. And then sometimes you'll meet people, for example, like a Baker Bro or Deshaun Lover, same thing. Like me and him always seem to be on the same point of where we are with players, so we just get along very well. There's a guy that was a huge Baker fan. Me and him don't really talk that much, I'm not going to lie, just because that's how strong this fandom has become with the Browns and that whole scenario. I have to change the subject here with you just bringing up Johnny, but the fan base has been so torn lately. It's literally been half and half, to where if you're in the middle, you're wrong. If you're on this side, you're wrong. And it's like a whole.
It's like a Republican Democrat feel, kind of, right?
Literally.
There's no middle, man. It's either you're on this side or that side, and we don't get along.
Yeah, and there's still. I'm sure you're on Twitter every day, man. They're still going back and forth. Baker Bro, Deshaun Lover, Baker, hater or whatever. I don't know what they're calling the Baker haters, but. Yeah, always something. But yeah, that's my boy. He probably isn't he likes to go to what's that camp? He likes to go camping a lot. He's probably somewhere at a campground, somewhere just sitting in a hot tub.
Well, he's chilling in a hot tub, man. I love it.
Yeah,
Watching the Yard Dogs podcast. Welcome to the show, OG Juju. Thanks for tuning in. We have a lot of great comments. Mikey P, my co-host, he says, great show, huge fan. He's driving back from Cleveland. He's also saying, Coltrane, Mikey P and I will be there for the Patriots game 10-16, so we'll have to hook up and drink a beer.
100%. Like I said, we're just looking for somebody to meet us for a reason, man. So we'll meet you wherever. We'd love to have a brat and a beer with you guys, and then we'll bring this. I mean, you guys are coming a long way, so we'll bring the tailgate stuff and all that crap. You don't have to worry about it.
I love it. All right, so here's some other news. This was weird to me, and this really came out of left field, man. I didn't see this coming. I think it's killed now. I think it's dead. But Kareem Hunt, dude, he just all of a sudden, man, he was holding out. He's like, no, I'm not practicing. He asked for a trade or a restructure, from what I remember. And so let me ask you this, Coltrane. Like, I have thoughts of my own. What are your thoughts on a player that's under contract, right? Under contract by the organization, and then just says out of nowhere, nope, I'm holding out. I demand a trade. What are your thoughts on players like that? I mean, I know players need to earn that bag, but it hits me funny when it happens.
I mean, it hit me hard. I'm not going to lie. First of all, it's horrible timing. He actually picked the worst possible time
to have this right now. I'd honestly prefer it maybe after preseason, once this Deshaun stuff actually we get more answers for that. But my issue with Kareem is this, and I'll propose it to you like this. Okay, Kareem, you and your agent, you say you guys want a trade out somewhere else. Let's just give you a scenario. Say he goes to Jacksonville Jaguars. You're telling me with their O-line, he's going to get big money next year, tearing it up, 1,000-yard season, bunch of touchdowns. I just don't see that. So to me, I understand that right now why Andrew Berry's kind of strong-handing them, because at the end of the day, his best position to make money next year is staying in Cleveland, in my opinion, just because you got a top 5 O-line, your Chubbs, Batman and Robin, you're going to get your touches, you're going to get your touchdowns, and then get your big money next year, which I thought that was the plan. But now it seems like, and back to your question, it's unfortunate is what it is, because he's getting $6-7 million a year. It's not like he's getting chump change. It's still a decent contract for a backup running back, which is what he is. He's running back number 2. But for me, it's hard. It's unsettling just because, first of all, we don't need this drama right now. And second of all, in my opinion, Hunt's best opportunity for big money, whether it's with us or someone else, is staying here. So that's my point on that.
Yeah, and it was just a weird situation, right? Because it seemed like as soon as it ramped up, it died, and he was back on the field practicing. So Mikey P says that's all his agent's doing. So it very well could be that it could be his agent. They realize that, so it sounds like the Browns are going to maybe do something about it. They certainly don't want to lose Kareem Hunt this year. I think Kevin Stefanski was even quoted, "We'll do whatever it takes to keep him in the building this year."
And see, for me, and I'm sure this has been mentioned before by fans themselves, even on Twitter, but I love the idea of, I think Hunt and his agent had mentioned this kind of stuff before to Barry, and that is why they went and got that dude from Cincy, and that's why I think they knew the writing was on the wall. I just don't I think they kind of threatened it, maybe even in the offseason last year or after the season was over. But again, I don't know what happened. There had to have been, my wife keeps telling me something had to have happened. Somebody had to make him mad, Ian. Either way, something definitely happened, just because I don't, and obviously Mikey's saying it's all the agent's doing. Then what is this agent doing? Obviously, is he getting money hungry? In my opinion, even thinking as an agent, your best opportunity would be to stay in Cleveland and work behind Hunt. Like I said, you go to Jacksonville Jaguars, you go to Detroit Lions. Well, that's a horrible example. They got a running back. But you go to one of them lower tier teams, I just don't know what he's expecting. He's going to, he's definitely, an elite running back. But our O-line, that's what a lot of people forget sometimes. Our O-line creates those holes. I'm not taking anything away from Dernis Johnson, that game when Case Keenum was playing last year with that primetime game. But very well, that was O-line, and Dernis just found the holes. I'm not saying anything away from him, but same thing with Hunt. He's going to get a lot of opportunities to score with us. I just don't. Again, I don't get it. So.
And OG Juju says Hunt is one Chubb injury behind being the head back on a stacked O-line. Even if Chubb stays healthy, he's going to get his touches. Yeah, Hunt was injured for a chunk of games last year. He was not healthy, and the offense really struggled without Kareem Hunt. So I was excited for him to come back healthy. Chubb's healthy. When they were both healthy 2 years ago, Kareem Hunt saw a lot of touches. Check down Baker. He would check him down all the time. Kareem Hunt can catch the ball. He's going to see his touches this year. Whether he's here in 2023, I'm of the opinion, I think that this is his final year in Cleveland. I don't see that, they're going to bring him on. Pay 2 running backs is really hard to do in this league, and we just drafted Jerome Ford out of Cincinnati, so we have some pretty high hopes for him. And of course we have Dearness Johnson still on the roster. So we've got some running backs, and to your point, Coltrane, we got an awesome offensive line. So maybe you don't need an elite style running back like Kareem Hunt, to have success. But I sure do want him this year. We need him this year, man. We got so much bad news going on. We need a good running game with, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. We got to have it.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate about the situation. Like I said, of the timing, it's almost like him and his agent know they're going to run the ball.
Yeah.
They're going to run the ball. They need you. Let's push them a little bit. And again, I get all that, dude. I understand people got to get paid. They got to get their money. But this is just, like I said, very bad for us just because, like you just said it, we have to have a strong run game. And why I've always loved Hunt is if Chubb goes down, you got Hunt. If Hunt goes down, you got Chubb. It's just like kind of how we had Odell for a little while there with Landry. Like if one of them went down, you had the other one. It's always nice to have 2 Pro Bowl running backs in your room versus one. And say Chubb goes down, so who's next? Gurnis Johnson, and you got what? Ford or Felton backing him up? I mean, that's just completely changed the whole scheme of what we're used to. So I'm with you. This was his year to get paid. This was his year to get big money. I don't know, man. I'm at a loss with Kareem.
I mean, and let's not mistake it. Kareem Hunt loves Cleveland. He has been quoted. He wants to finish out his career in Cleveland. Now, I don't know if that's just talk or that's just things that people say, but make no mistake about it. Kareem Hunt loves Cleveland. He loves Nick Chubb. They've become great friends. He loves this team. So, maybe the Browns said, look, Kareem, we don't need this right now. I promise you, we're going to take care of you, but we need you out there, this team. We need you this year. We'll work it out. Don't worry about that. And then behind the scenes, maybe the Browns front office and Kareem Hunt's agent are talking, and the agent gave Kareem the thumbs up. Yeah, go back to practice. We got this. Maybe it happened like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it goes back to your point, though, is, it's almost like it's just bad timing, man. We just can't. We like I said, we can't have this situation. But either way, if we lose Hunt, and I don't. Or it goes back to what you're saying, like his hometown hero. He wants to stay, but Cleveland. It goes back to your point. I don't think they want to invest that much money into the running back room. Like I don't know the contract of Chubb, but think about it, dude. You give him even half of what you gave Chubb. You add that up. That's so many million on the cap for one running back room. And like you said, not to be arrogant or anything, but we have a great offensive line. Not to take anything away from Hunt. Let's get this straight. I don't want to replace him this year at all. I was hoping for him this year as well. But as far as years to come with Ford and you got Gurnis, maybe you re-sign him, and you got Felton on the wings, we should be okay at the running back position. Yeah. But like I said, so unfortunate this year and just horrible timing of this whole Kareem Hunt.
Yeah. I mean, Bill Callahan's the guy we need to be looking at. I mean, how long is that guy under contract? We need to keep him.
Him and Stubbs, what is it, Stubbs with the beard?
Yeah.
Running back? Yeah.
Stump Mitchell.
Stump Mitchell, yeah. Those two guys are – yeah. People don't understand how coaching is how much coaching IQ is it means something.
Yeah.
Those two guys, if we didn't have them, I don't even know if we'd have as much success. And I'm being honest with you. Hats off to them. I don't know if we'd have the success we do.
No doubt. I mean, dude, we were bringing an offensive lineman off the street last year, like meeting Baker Mayfield in the locker room before the game, like, hi, how you doing? I'm Baker Mayfield. And then they go in the game and play well. It's just really unbelievable, man. It's really unbelievable how that all shook out. But, all right, let's get in. So this news just hit like 2 hours ago. I'm prepping for the show, man. I got my notes all typed up. I'm amped. I'm ready to go. I'm prepared. And then Roger Goodell just throws this bomb all over my notes, man, all over Brown's Twitter. You're putting your hands up. You're like, oh, shit. Here we go. And that's what do you think about Roger Goodell, man? He's saying indefinite. That's what the NFL is going after, is an indefinite suspension. And we all know in Cleveland, because of Josh Gordon, we know what that means, indefinite. That's a scary word. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts right now is I'm hopeful that just like they did before, they want to get their message out that they want the absolute worst punishment they can give this guy. And that's the only thing I can think is same thing with this article today. At the end of the day, it didn't really update us on anything more than what we already knew. Goodell pretty much he doesn't like the situation. He wants to suspend them indefinitely. We've been hearing that. This just solidifies all these articles and these people tweeting that that the news came. But I think it's just more of, honestly, my hope as a fan, and obviously this is me trying to be positive, is that, again, it's just the NFL trying to kind of say, like, no matter what happens, we want America to know this is what we want. And that's literally the one thing I'm hanging on to, is I'm hopeful still that, that suspension will just be half the season, or, like I told you, I'm not ready to give up yet, but that is my only hope, to answer your question, would be that the Goodell news is literally just Goodell saving his face to whatever this guy, reprimands. But my fear is, I'm sure you did your research on that guy, that's basically the NFL's right-hand man. He works for the NFL. He's done stuff for the NFL. And he's actually, what's going to hurt the situation for Deshaun, he's really big on women's protection, women's rights stuff, man. So the unfortunate truth is, I don't know if that guy is necessarily the guy you want to be looking at this appeal, in our situation. But like I said, that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah. So there's a couple ways to look at this, right? I haven't had a chance to digest this. This literally just came out, so we're like talking about this, not really knowing all the facts, and not that anybody really does, but there's a couple ways to look at this. When you go into an appeal, you're gonna. The NFL has made no mistakes, but they wanted a year. They wanted a year's suspension. So as they're going into this appeal, they're saying indefinite suspension, and it's my understanding the appeal has not been heard yet, right? Because they appointed, who is it, Peter Harvey? He's the former Attorney General for New Jersey, to hear the appeal for the suspension of Deshaun Watson. So Roger Goodell's going into this appeal saying, hey, look, this is what we're going after, is an indefinite suspension. Is that leverage to then make the Deshaun Watson camp go, okay, well, let's negotiate, because you can negotiate this stuff. Maybe instead of 6 games, now it's 12 games, and maybe Roger Goodell would agree that, or maybe it's not 12, maybe it's a whole year, but not indefinite. So there's that way to look at it, or there's the other way that Roger Goodell, Mikey P said this when I was talking to him before the show. He said, look, I wouldn't be surprised if Roger Goodell is just going to throw the book at Deshaun Watson and use him as an example. And that indefinite suspension can mean not a year, not 2 years. It could mean like forever. We just don't know. I mean, we're all in our thoughts right now trying to digest this, but it's scary is what it is. I mean, we just invested in this guy, multiple first round picks, guaranteed money. We put a lot of investment in this Deshaun Watson, and I hope it works out. I really do. I mean, I see her wearing his jersey right here. I mean, we all hope that it works out, but at the same time, I just want to know like what it is. If it's a year, fine, it's a year. I can get through that. But this indefinite, that term scares the crap out of me. Indefinite.
Yeah, I agree with you. And it's unfortunate. I know you mentioned hit some of the stuff I saw when I went to training camp, and that's the one thing I'll say to further this point. Watching him play was like something I've never seen before, and I think that's what hurts the most. Any fan will tell you when they've experienced training camp this year, the spirals on the balls, the ball placement, the freaking athletic ability of this guy to get out of the pocket and still make a play. That's what's so unfortunate here. It's like that, it's like that bittersweet right now, because you want to enjoy it. You want to bask in the glory of this guy. And I'm behind him all the way. It's our QB1, man. I support whoever's back there at QB. But, dude, I'm telling you, if you haven't had a chance to see him in person, like, videos are great. But when you see him in person, and obviously I met the dude. He signed my helmet. Seems like a pretty cool guy to me. But, man, that's what I think what's hurting the Browns fans the most is you're hearing Mary Kay say it. You're hearing all the, the Plutos, all the Cleveland Plain Dealer people. Like, this is just different. Something about this team with Watson there, all that other stuff aside, the Goodell stuff, as a football standpoint, it's different, man. It's a different feel.
And that's just the only thing I'll pour my heart out to you, just because I'll be one of the many of us. If it's an indefinite, dude, I'll be, crying my eyes out, just because I wanted to see what this kid could do. And that's just kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I think Browns fans, we just want to know. We want this process to be over. I was talking to somebody on Twitter. I think it was someone from Network 216 in our DM chat. You know what's been discouraging for me? So as a podcaster, like, and even if you're just a Browns fan, just a fan of the Browns, we've gone through drama with Baker Mayfield, and you'd mentioned, Baker Bros, and we've gone through all that drama for a long time. Like, this has been a long off season, and then back to back. So we finished that drama. And now this Deshaun Watson, it's draining, man. It's really draining. And I just want it to be over. I want this to whatever it is, I just want it to be decided. But I'll say it again, that indefinite word scares the crap out of me.
And that's where I told you, like we were talking about it earlier, man. I just hope the union, every job is a union, every corporate company is a union, or most of them that do. We just hope and pray as fans that the union will do their due diligence, do their job, and at least fight for, like you said, at least to take that indefinite suspension label off. Maybe it's a 12-game. I still believe, you want my personal opinion, I still believe worst case scenario is a 10 to 12-game suspension. But like I told my buddy earlier, say it's 12 games, bro. Now you're thinking, what, 5 games left? Do you even play them? What is our record at that point? You understand? Like, with 5 games left, you put him back on the field. I'm just saying, theoretically thinking, if he gets 12 games, he comes back for 5, say we're, below 500, do you even march him out there, or do you just say, hey, he's our guy for next year and play Brissett for the rest of the season? Those are realistic questions you have to ask yourself if you're not all the way on the other ledge of a full year and all that stuff.
Yeah, so, and then the other negative to that, if he is suspended for 12 games and plays the last 5, he's eligible to play. Now this season doesn't toll. Like, that's part of his contract that we signed him for. If he's suspended for more than 12 games for a whole year, then this season doesn't count as far as the amount of years that he's a Cleveland Brown. So that's the other part of it, that, if it's 12 games, that counts for a year for Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, that's like I said, so unfortunate. Like I said, I've said this before with the Goodell stuff and just the NFL stuff, and it makes the most sense. When they were not happy with the 6 games, I always said to myself, if they're worried about saving face, I don't think these parties that are against Deshaun or all that are going to care if it's a 10, 12 game. Say they come back as 12 game suspension. It's not like those people are going to say, oh, well, the NFL did their due diligence. They did a great job here. They already repped them for the 6 games. You get what I'm saying? So to me, it's only, and that's what I fear for the NFL side, they're one indefinite or that's it. Because obviously we saw through articles they offered him a couple different deals. They sounded pretty poor to me. I don't think I would have taken them either if I was Deshaun. But if it was just about some, millions of dollars that you have a huge contract for, I would have. But as far as like games, I guess he wasn't after the 12 games. But at this point, what stinks about the whole thing is, what if you could go back, would you take the 12 games now?
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I don't know. Hopefully it's a negotiation tactic by the NFL. Hey, we're going after an indefinite suspension. And if it's a negotiation tactic and, they get Deshaun Watson's camp to settle with them on a stiff game suspension plus a stiff fine, then I'm fine with that. But the end result, man, I just want this to be over. Like, even if we had to play Jacoby Brissett this whole year, don't get me wrong, it is not Deshaun Watson, and we wouldn't have the same record, but I'd be fine with that as long as I know that, Deshaun Watson will be here next year. And it's just, this whole thing sucks, man. It sucks that we didn't ask for this. We're Browns fans, but we got dragged in the middle of this, and it is what it is. But we'll have to wait and see. That's the famous words of the podcast. Wait and see.
Yeah, that's I think the most defeating thing as fans is,
Yeah.
like you said, we're just getting bad news after bad news after bad news.
Yeah.
Then we get the 6 games, we're celebrating with our friends, we're grabbing a few brews, and then what was it? Even not even the next day. No, they teased us with the full day, and it was a day and a half later. Like, oh, wait a minute, we're not going to do that anymore. Just kidding. We don't like the 6 games, and now you're really affected by it. But I'm with you, man. I'm a Brissett guy. I know some of the fans aren't, and most likely those are going to be your Baker bros. They're just really upset with the situation. They don't like the situation our GM put us in, obviously with their likings to Baker, and that's fine. But Brissett can throw the ball, man. I'm not saying he's going to be a Fitzmagic and win, so many games with 2 minutes left on the line. But what everybody, including fans from the AFC North that aren't Browns fans, of the other teams, we have a pretty dang good team. Take Watson's name off. Before he even came aboard, we got a good team on paper, though. So, yeah, quarterback's important, but at the end of the day, what kind of quarterback play were we getting from Baker hurt last year anyways?
Yeah.
I think Brissett, not necessarily better than Baker. I'm not going to throw that curve up here, but I think Brissett can make the throws he needs to win games, for sure. Yeah, I believe that. I do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're gonna be okay. This isn't like the sky is falling. We'll be fine, right? We're used to it. We have tough skin, so we're gonna be fine. I want to end the Deshaun Watson talk. So you shared with me in DM that Deshaun Watson signed your helmet, and you actually had a 30-second conversation with him at training camp. I'm curious how that conversation goes, or anything cool you can share with us of what Deshaun Watson said.
Yeah, it was very cool. I was fanboying for sure. I go to training camp every year, my birthday. August 1st is always my birthday, and it always seems like the Browns, whatever day it is, weekend or weekday, that the Browns have a training camp on that day. So I've gotten my helmet signed by Johnny Manziel. I'll never forget. He said, happy birthday, bro. I got one of them from him, pictures with him. So for me, it's just a tradition. I go every year. I try to get whoever I can. But it was one of those situations where I saw Peoples-Jones sign. I got him on this helmet. Cade York was a good guy. Signed my helmet as well. Told me happy birthday. Cool guy. For especially as young as he am, very polite, very respectful guy. Peoples-Jones, he kind of just did a quick one and left. It is what it is. I wasn't expecting a full conversation with that guy. But Watson what was crazy about where I was, I'd probably say only about 30 people. I know now people are lining up in these videos and he's signing a lot, but at least at that camp, he was like stretching and doing extra work with the quarterbacks coach. And then next thing I knew, I was getting Peoples-Jones. I look over because Watson's, he's not as tall as you think. That's one thing I will say too. I'm not going to say he's like a Baker height, but he is not as tall as you think. I think they say about 6'1", 6'2". I'm 6 foot, and he was about my height. I mean, at least, head to head. But anyways, long story short, I seen him, in just a few people. Nobody really caught on that he was there. I stuck out my helmet here, which obviously he blew. I asked him to blow. Let me get in the light here. Nice. I asked him to blow it up for me. He put my name on it, asked me how to spell it right, which was cool. The Deshaun Watson 4. Well, I said, I had a little conversation with him. I said, hey, it's my birthday today, brother. And he said, hey, happy birthday to you, man. And I said, Deshaun, I just want to tell you, I've been supporting you from day one. I really think you're going to change this team around. And he looked at me with a heartfelt, look in his eyes. And he said, hey, I really appreciate that, man. Thanks for cheering for me. I'm in your corner. I'm going to do everything I can to help this team out. Then it's when he asked me, how you spell your name. But basically, like I said, a 30-second conversation, just a little bit of a talk here and there. But man, when I'm sure my wife will tell you, when I got out of that pile with that helmet and you're smiling from ear to ear, there's nothing like it, man.
Yeah.
Like I keep telling my GM the next day at work, you're touched by the stars. It's like that one little moment. That's why I love going to training camp. It's like that one little moment. You're not going to get that at the games. You're not going to get that sitting on your couch.
No.
I always recommend, especially you guys from Virginia, always go to training camp at least once a year. You just don't get that opportunity to talk to the players or see them or touch them or any of that stuff. So I always support training camp, man.
Well, we have about 6 minutes. So I have a couple of training camp questions for you because I've never been to Browns training camp. It is something that's on my bucket list. I want to do it. I'm going to do it one day. But, maybe when Joe Thomas gets inducted in the Hall of Fame, maybe I'll do it that year because I'll be in Canton anyways. I'm definitely going to that. What was your overall experience at camp? I mean, I had a guest on last week from the Dude Network. He said that the crowd wasn't really that energetic. It wasn't as energetic as he thought it should be. How was the crowd? Was there energy there? Like, what was your overall experience with training camp this year?
Well, I thought there was a lot of energy, and obviously my opinion is a little bit biased. A couple of days before that training camp, I got a call from the Cleveland Browns. My girl's giving me the phone, and she's like, "Here, the Cleveland Browns are calling." I'm like, "What? Cleveland Browns are calling?" I said, "Hello." It was Miguel, my season ticket guy, and he said they were going to bump us up to they call it the sideline club. Season ticket members are they draw out of a hat. I think it's like random, but either way, long story short, it's a section where they have like couches, chairs, hot dogs, free food, free alcohol. But it was like a little section to the side. Pretty much the next tent over was the media. I saw all the media people in person. Like I saw Cam Justins walking around. I saw that Hayden Grove guy off Twitter. Anybody Cleveland media related on Twitter. I saw him, Daryl Ryder, all those dudes. But I'm trying to get this out fast. I know we're in a time crunch. But, man, my experience, I called my ticket guy thanking him up and down because the benefit of drinking a Long Island iced tea while you're watching the Browns with your buddy, I had my cousin with me, my wife was there. We're sitting on a couch as if we're at home, and you got Hunt and Chubb, and I mean, the energy was great. I think every practice is different. It depends on who's going as fans. But one thing I will leave you with this because I'm trying to be positive for the Hunt situation. Chubb and Hunt in person, like close to you and me like we are now, dude, I understand why Chubb just throws a dude over his shoulder. If that guy was coming near me as fast as he can run, I'm 220. I'm a bigger guy myself. I would be like, whoa, bro, go ahead, man, go beside me, because it's just too much. They're brick houses. Both of them in total are just legit brick houses. So, and by the way, if you ever decide to go as a season ticket member, I get first access. Just let me know when you want to go, man. I'll get you tickets. So that way you don't have to worry about tickets and all that
That's
stuff.
what I'm talking about.
I'll even try to bump you up to the club or the city, what do they call it? Sideline club, because that was a pretty good experience, man, for sure. But meeting Deshaun, I mean, talk about a happy birthday to me, man. It's meeting one of my heroes, and then he basically signed the helmet, blows it up for me personally. It was a cool thing, so I'll never forget it.
Who stood out to you in camp on the football field, like during practice?
Peoples Jones did. John Johnson made a couple plays.
Nice.
Myles Garrett is just abnormally big. I mean, the guy's a Greek god. I mean, you could see him if he's over on the other side of the field. You can see him from your bleacher seat over there. I mean, it's just unbelievable how big that dude is. But just him and Clowney, man, just it was really nice to see. And Perry, I would say Perrion's a pretty big dude. And he signed for all the fans too. He was a fan favorite, signed for a lot of people. It's always interesting to me to see. I always like to see who signs and who doesn't. And Perrion Winfrey was one of them. Peoples Jones, those are good guys that sign pretty much every time. So, but yeah, those guys stuck out to me. But I would say receiver-wise, like I said, Peoples Jones is making some plays. Believe it or not, he was making some plays. He's got the juice. They just have to utilize him right. It's all on Stefanski. They have to utilize him, man.
Good. We have about 2 minutes left. Coldiron, talk to our audience. We have a lot of people watching this show right now. Tell us in your own words why the Browns are not screwed this year. Like, we are not, the sky has not fallen, but in fact, we're going to have a successful season this year. Tell us how that's going to happen for the Cleveland Browns in 2022.
Well, I mean, I trust in my regime. If you're a true fan, you trust in what your regime does, your GM, your coach. I think Stefanski's a heck of a coach. I think he's got the X's and O's down. I think we're on paper. we're a top 10. Maybe I'm biased. We're a top 10 team on paper. We just have to put it all together. Yes, quarterback position is important. It's everything. But we have 2 Pro Bowl backs. Hopefully, with Hunt doing, Hunt comes back or comes back to us. 2 Pro Bowl backs. You got a top 5 offensive line. You got Peoples-Jones. You got Bell. You got Cooper. Schwartz might make some noise this year. I mean, you have a great receiving core. I still wouldn't mind a Will Fuller, one of them type of guys in there. I wouldn't mind picking up, especially with Jakeem Grant going down. But as far as the defense goes, we're good, baby. And as you all know, defense wins championships. So for me, the defense will keep us in games. And if you all remember last year, Baker Mayfield had the ball in his hands, 2-3 minutes left to go. Myles Garrett makes the 4th down sack. Jacoby's going to get opportunities to make a play to win that game. And not only that, that's one thing I forgot to mention with training camp. Cade York, I'm sure you've seen the videos. He's nailing him like he's the next dude from Baltimore Ravens, man. We're about to give this guy a food. I mean, he's acting like he's the new Phil Dawson, man. I mean, this guy, that's why I got his autograph. I really do think that's a good investment because he's going to nail some kicks next year. And if you remember, kicking hasn't been an issue of the Browns. So, yeah, we lost the returner. We gained the kicker this year. But like I said, offense, defense, quarterback aside, we can beat teams like the Steelers, and these bottom, your Atlanta Falcons. Those first 4 games, I would be very surprised and shocked if we're not 3-1 or 4-0. We can win those first few games, man. I really do believe that.
Great words, Coltrane. This is definitely the most talented roster that I've personally ever seen in my life. Like, it really is. I mean, putting the quarterback, situation aside, this roster is stacked. It's loaded. Myles Garrett was quoted a couple weeks ago. He goes, "Hey, last time I checked, if they can't score points, they can't win." So you're right, man. The defense is stacked. I'm excited to see this defense pop this year. Last year it took them the second half of the season is when they really started to gel and come together. I'm looking forward to seeing that like right from the jump. Let's have a healthy year this year from our defense. You'd mentioned the running game, Kareem Hunt and Chubb. Let's keep them healthy. They're brick houses, I think is what you said. Nick Chubb is a brick house, and he's going to be steamrolling over people. So wide receiver room, Amari Cooper, great pickup this year, man. A lot of people are thinking that our wide receiving room is weak, but I'm looking for big things from these guys, especially the young guys. We have David Bell, our rookie. A lot of people are talking about him. Cam Justice was on our show maybe 6 weeks ago, and she said Mike Hartley, he never even dropped a pass that she saw at the practice that he was at. So we got some young guys that can really step up and make something real special. And by the way, I think it's okay if we're under the radar, right? Because teams might be looking past this now. They might be going, Cleveland Browns, they're done. Same old Browns. Browns going to be the Browns.
Yep.
So, you know what? It's about ready to stop talking and start doing. And that's what we're about to see on September the 12th. We have our first game this Friday. It's preseason, but are you going to that game?
No, it's away. It's in Jacksonville.
Oh, it's in Jacksonville.
I just heard that the Watson's making the trip. They want Watson to play.
Okay.
So that's going to be very interesting.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's in Jacksonville. The team's leaving tomorrow for the Friday game. They're going to fly out to Jacksonville tomorrow, I think it is. So yeah, there's a lot of things that we can look forward to for this season. Of course, you can dwell on negatives. Every team has them, right? It's like every team's got them, so we're not like on an island there. But anyways, we got to end the show, dude. Where can people find you on social media? You've been a great guest.
Browns fan 593. Yeah, just Browns fan 593. So look
Browns
me up anytime. I like I said, I'd love to come on again. I'd love to meet Mikey personally. I didn't get a chance to meet him, obviously, with his traveling today. Hopefully he gets back safe. But I'd love to kick it with you guys anytime, man. My wife will tell you she's sick of me talking about my Browns, so I'd like to get an opportunity here to talk Browns with you guys.
Yeah,
so I appreciate the opportunity, buddy.
We will definitely do it again, bro. And we'll be in Cleveland for the Patriots game, so maybe we'll be able to hook up and share a beer together.
All right, brother.
Yep. All right, have a good night. Hey, I like to end all of our podcasts with a Go Browns. So Coltrane, if you'll join me on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3.
Go
Browns.
All right.